G'day, this is Bobby from Shifty Blades. Just thought I'd jump on and have a quick chat to you about a product designed here in Australia and sold through a company called Creative Man. Now, the File Guide. When I first started making knives a few years ago now, I started off with the very basics, just using nothing but files, and there were certain things, especially plunge lines, that were extremely hard to get right. Now, over time, I sort of started getting a little bit used to getting them lined up in the fold jig, and with a lot of stuffing around, you'd eventually sort of work it out. And once you got one side done, you'd mark it across and mark it to the other side and try and set it back up in the jig again. And it's easy to get close. You can get close quite easily, but when it comes to trying to get them spot on, that was extremely difficult. So as time passes and I invest in the tools that I think that are essential, one of the earlier ones that I did get was one of these file guides. I believe they come in a couple of different sizes, and I believe there's been a new one released called the Big Mert, and I think it has the carbide guides on the sides here are like 20-25 mil wide. Like, it's a beast of a thing. So I'm sure for certain makers that'll probably come in real handy. But for me, I've been using this now on just about every knife that I do. My latest one, which is a bush chopper, made from a chainsaw bar. There's some nice red gum handles. But anyway, now as you can see, over time, I've managed to start getting my plunge lines looking fantastic. Well, I think so anyway. And it's all thanks to one of these. It really is. There's a few different ways I use this as such, but my main one is when I'm going to start doing the bevels on a knife, I will attach the file guide on and set it to where I want my plunge lines to be, and then I actually clamp the knife down on the side of my bench and just start freehand. I usually start this with a second cut file actually for some reason, but I just find that works for me. When I first start doing the bevels on a knife, you've got that 90-degree edge. So to start running a bastard file across that edge, it's actually, not ideal in a sense. I think it's probably pretty harsh on the file, as well as just the sound annoys me, I suppose. So anyway, I use a second cut, still removes a bit of material, and I'll start those bevels. Well, of course, actually, I can sort of show this a little bit, I think. If I can just quickly undo the guide a little. There we go. So what I'll do is, this one, I usually don't have the little choil done at this time. Most knives I do now, I do that after I've actually put the bevels in. But once you work out where you want your bevel to start, I'll just quickly do this up. Hold on. Still got the tool handy. Which is just I think for this one I believe it's a 4mm Allen key. Now, I've found that there's no need to over tighten these bolts. I've actually gone and I've got just a tiny little bit of anti-seize on these threads, because I've always found stainless on stainless is very easy to bind, especially if you're doing up and undoing the screw a lot. So I found just a little bit of anti-seize has made these just nice. So once I have the file guide sort of set up, and that's probably not exactly where I'd put it on this one, even though I reckon I'm pretty close, I will set that up in the bench, So I've got the cutting edge, and just start filing. I'll only come to about here, like, the width of the file. I don't try and, sometimes I will just break that edge off while I've got the second cut file in my hand, before I actually set it up in the jig and start with the bastard file. So once I've got it set up, and I've usually got a centre line marked, as you know, this one isn't marked or anything, but I usually do 2 lines, and I'll have 2 lines in here so I know what I'm working down to, and I'll just hit that, and I'll roughen in enough so I've just left enough metal going from here that once I set it up in the jig and I sit the file on it, the file will hit up against that little bevel, little plunge line that I've already started to put in. And I find that just works a treat for me. Once I've done that on both sides, I'll take this off and I can go about getting it set up in the jig and ready to get the bevels done. So for anyone out there that's already making knives or looking at starting to make knives, if you don't have one of these, now if you use a grinder, of course, on a belt grinder this is going to work fine once you've got it set up. Just move your belt across to the side of the platen, and you can use the guide up against as you're grinding, and then you can always flip it over. I'm sure you know more about that than me. Anyway, so yeah, if you're looking at getting some supplies to start making a knife, definitely go check out creativeman.com.au pardon me, and look at getting yourself one of these. I'm pretty sure he'll ship worldwide, so jump online, check him out. I'll try and, that's the little symbol you'll be looking for, Creative Man with the half saw blade. Go check him out, get yourself a file guide, and you'll be doing yourself a massive favour, and you'll probably find that you've got an instant improvement on the knives that you make. Of course, something I haven't managed yet is hidden tangs. I'm really hoping to eventually get round to doing some. I've got a Bowie stashed up there that I've started on, but just haven't got round to doing much more to it yet. And I believe that, having one of these guides, for any 2 surfaces that you want to get the same, by clamping a guide across, doing the shoulders on a knife for a hidden tang somewhere for the guard or whatever to, meet up with, getting one of these is essential just to ensure that each side is spot on. So yeah, that's my rant for this morning. Hope I wasn't too boring, or if there's any misunderstandings, of course, just shoot me a message and I'll certainly try and get back to you as soon as I can. So I think that's about all I need to comment on. File guides from Creative Man. Oh, there we go. Yep, you can see that, I hope. A must have for any knife making workshop. Right folks, thank you very much, and remember, be shifty and be safe. See you later.